Yo, what's good? It's Fire here, back from the video, and today we're going to be hopping into another coverage defense in College Football 25. Today we're going to be running the cover 6 Willie out of the nickel 3-3 over. Now, if you played Madden, you probably heard of this play just because of the blitz out of dollar. We're going to kind of show and talk about some of the coverage things that you can use for this defense behind it. Now, you guys kind of know that I run a lot of cover 4 quarters, so I think this is a good play to mix in with that scheme. I've talked a lot about match coverage, specifically out of these nickel overs and nickel 3-3 overs. Now, we're using Georgia in the 3-3 over. You could, of course, run this out of the nickel over, which is going to be in most other playbooks, Colorado, Alabama, Oregon, etc. But, yeah, you can mix this between the cover 9 show 2, the cover 6 traditional, cover 4 quarters, cover 4 palms, whatever you want to run. And, yeah, cover 6 Willie. So, personnel-wise, I like getting some athletic linebackers because you will be putting these guys in coverage. So, like, if we want to, you can find good people that can, rush the passer, but you also want to have some kind of speed and some kind of coverage, tackling ability, because they will be going in coverage occasionally. Do you want auto flip on? Not necessarily. I would probably leave it off because you're going to usually want the man coverage on the short side of the field or on the short receiver side of the field. If there's 3 receivers on the left, we're going to want the man coverage on the right for kind of obvious reasons. And we'll show some examples with like a doubles, with some kind of trips looks. And we don't really have a gun bunch in here, but maybe we'll try and show one. Okay, so let's go just to a double Z close here. And we'll kind of show how I like to actually run this offense, or this defense rather. So we're going to come out on the right side, and just taking a look at our defense, we have a pretty simple look. We have a cover 4. Let's actually move the face cam down a little bit. Now, pretty simple look. We have a cover 4 traditional on the left side, or whatever side we want, the slot corner side, and then we have man coverage assignments on the right. So man coverage is interesting because obviously our cover 4 is going to match, usually traditionally, so what is going to happen is that outside quarter is going to generally just take that outside receiver unless there's, something else like a corner route for it to match onto. The deep safety is going to be able to kind of play a double team. He will take the outside corner if it's like a streak post combo. That's what's going to kind of happen. And then we have our quarter flat, which is going to take like Y on a corner route. If it's a streak corner route concept, it's going to take that, but it'll also come down and help on a drag. If there's a deep crosser and a drag kind of combo, then the safety is going to end up passing on to the deep crosser, and it's going to take the drag. So you can play one of 2 different ways. Obviously, in this case, it's probably honestly a little bit better. Also, make sure you get like probably a safety here at linebacker because they will be playing man coverage. But we can play this a few different ways. Obviously, the first way is just to run it stock, and mixing it in situationally could be a good idea. So, like, obviously, the running back, there's going to be nobody on the running back, so you're going to have that responsibility to probably take him. But the interesting thing about the running back is you would really only necessarily have to play him on those middle of the field, on those routes that are going to the right side, because you don't have anybody over there. And there's a few different ways we can counteract that, but obviously man coverage on these 2 guys, pretty simple. Over here on the left, we have the outside quarter, who again is going to play this post. We have our safety that's going to be able to help out. We have our outside quarter that is going to actually jam, and then he's going to actually play the slot corner or the slot receiver until another zone or route goes into his zone. So now we have this drag. He's going to come over, play that. We still have man coverage on McMillan with our outside corner here, and then our safety is going to shade inside. If this route continues, we have our deep half over here to help. Now over here, obviously, we have no zones, so there's a few kind of holes that you can see in the defense. One way I like counteracting that is going with a zone here, and this is where you can adjust your zone drops. I would probably go with like about a 10-yard. I think 10 yard is fair on this zone. And what this is going to do is, like, let's say they're running a kind of Y sail look, something like this. Let's say they're playing this style of offense, then we can throw the hard flat in there, and then everything is going to be really taken care of well. Now, again, you don't have this guy in man coverage, so obviously if you reroutes, whatever the case may be, that route can end up getting open. Now, this is a good mix-up in the coverage defense. Ideally, you'd like to be able to rush 4. That's not just the case every single play, though. But there's times when rushing 4 works out a little bit better, and it really just depends on the formation that you're facing. If you're in a doubles and you have to play man. Like, obviously, if we flip the defense, it could look like this. And then maybe I'm like, hey, I don't really feel all that obligated to necessarily put him in a zone, because if we face something like this, we'll go with the wise sail look again. With the cover 4 on this side, then what we only have to do is worry about like maybe helping on this backside post because the man coverage. So there's wins and losses to it. Honestly, I would try to avoid man coverage ever being on the side of 3 people, and you'll see that when we go to trips. So seeing as I have auto flip off, I'm always going to try and flip it like this. Now, can you get beat? Yes. You're going to need some good man coverage players. Because if you want to shade over the top, which you can shade over the top, you're just going to have a normal cover 4 drop look on the right side. And that could, easily open the door for, I don't know, something like this. We'll drag angle combo, and then you look at your defense. You're like, the drag is going to be coming across probably wide open. I'm going to have to match onto him. The angle route is probably also going to, it's my responsibility to take him. And this combo is not going to be good because your match goes down the drain when you have to shade over the top. Obviously, you don't have to press, but pressing is just going to be kind of a little bit better, especially for those outside quarters just in general. So you can usually guess like what side you're going to want to come out in. Like if they're running trips to end, you can kind of guess, be like, hey, he's on the right hash. The trips is generally going to be on the left side, or he's only running it on the left side. So again, trips is on the left. We're definitely going to want to run our man coverage on the right. So here is a good scenario, and usually I'm always going to user the 3-rec hook. There's situations where I could user this player, but it's going to hold a lot of responsibility vertically, especially if I face something like a, let's get a streak post. Something like this, it's going to put a lot of pressure on my user. So while I could do this, it's like I'm going to have to kind of lurk over here, and you really have to decide in a split second what you're facing. It can leave people open as well, but you can do that, and I'll try and show some more setups where you actually can user that quarter. But for now, we'll user this player, and this is still going to hold a lot of responsibility within the trips, but this is a situation where, hey, I'm a lot more confident about the opportunity of rushing 4 in this case. Especially, like, let's say they're running kind of a curl flat look, and this is going to be interesting because you're going to have, again, still no zones over there, so you're going to really rely on those outside zones playing well, because if it's kind of like a curl flat setup, your man coverage is going to have to hold up, because you're going to have to like follow this player all the way across the field if you have no help zone. Right there, our coverage is still good, but recognizing and understanding the assignment of what you're going to have to do is going to help. Whereas if we're able to throw, and even just throwing a hard flat out there, I don't hate, because it's like, hey, if it's deep crosser, I'm going to be using it anyway, and if it's deep enough, my deep half should play it regardless. So if I put B in a hard flat by pushing the left stick to the left, then we can still, if we face a setup kind of like this, and I don't know, we'll just kind of put, let's say the setup is this. Then what we can do is we can be a little bit more aggressive and be like, hey, I can actually help out here on the angle route, even though he is in man coverage. And this is, clearly pretty good defense. Personnel-wise, can your guys get beat on a crosser? They can, but keep in mind that you're not going to be running this play every down. Now, the 3-man rush is what could be a little concerning, but if they're blocking 5, you should be able to get pressure eventually on this. And again, mix this in with cover 4 quarters, because cover 4 quarters is a more consistent opportunity where you can go ahead and rush 4 people consistently. So again, I would do this. Now, let's say he incorporates motion, which is a very real possibility. Let's say the play is this. He's going to motion over a drag. So he motions over a drag. I'm going to immediately try and man up one of these players on it. Now you see the man coverage assignment is immediately going to shift, and my linebacker is going to go out there and actually play him. So this puts us in a good spot. But what I would probably do here is I would man up this B linebacker on the running back, because I can do that. So that's going to be one way we can do it. Counteract it, and you see the coverage is still perfect. The safety is going to take the corner out. The outside quarter is going to match onto the post route. And I mean, this coverage is crystal clear, perfect. There's no flaws in it. I can help on this post. I can help on the other post. I mean, it's really good defense. If it's an angle route, I can still double team on that. So that's one option. Let's say they motion him over like different time. We have the man coverage. What can we do? We can try and switch this to a cover 2 kind of look, or a cover 6 look rather. Now this guy's going to match in, so what you're going to have to do is try and click onto him, prevent him from actually going across the field. But we can just audible it to a straight cover 6. And that's going to be an option, and that's going to allow you to keep your 4-man rush. So if it's a big play you want the 4-man rush, that's a good option to do, especially if he incorporates motion. Now, I don't have a gun bunch here, but I'll try and kind of simulate what we would do out of a gun bunch offense. And again, you're not running this play, 20 times in a row. You are mixing in all of your other quarters defenses, and you can even mix in traditional cover 3 clouds and things like that. Now, we don't have any really good plays, but your bunch is going to be interesting. Of course, you're going to have your quarters to this side. Now, this is a weird look. I'd like to be base aligned if I can. And you can also disable that realignment if you don't want it. So it could look like this, where you have your default man coverage on this side. Now again, let's try and pretend this is a normal gun bunch, where this guy is going to be in man coverage on probably the running back, and the running back's going to be on the opposite side. So we'll try and emulate that. So your coverage is going to look like this. Now, again, I like this situation to be able to, what I can either do is A, put an extra vert hook out here if I want to. This is another option against gun bunch. Or this is a situation where I'm probably more inclined to be able to use the safety, because usually the bunch is going to be on the inside. So if a streak is in play, the outside quarter is usually going to match onto it, and you're going to be able to watch any deep posts or crossers. So I'm able to user him and watch like A on him. The outside quarter should match onto that deep backside post. In this formation, it's a little bit weird, but that's just an idea of what we could do. If you guys want to see this in game, let me know. I could definitely bring that to you guys. It could be an offensive gameplay, and I can still run this on defense. But if you guys did enjoy, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel down below. Let me know what you guys want to see next, and peace. I'm out.